Hey, Dustin Tibbetts here, financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. Hope you're having a great day today. Let's get started here. This is just a quick series that we do. We call it Fin Tips. Go over some quick tips and things to help you out there. Getting a lot of this, a lot of our customers over 55, if I had to guess, they're being forced to retire a little bit earlier than they thought. A couple years earlier than what they had planned, what we had planned. And a lot of it has to do with the virus, right? A lot of people are just kind of downsizing, businesses closing. It's tough out there, right? I mean, it's the joy of having so many customers around the United States. I get to see what's going on, what's really affecting everybody, and maybe what the media is just kind of hyping up there. But look, here's the thing. Those of you that are 55 and over are being forced to retire early, and it's proven. We can look at it's a study done by the New School of Retirement here, and here is the chart from the Great Recession, in other words, the financial crisis back in the day. Those that were over 55 years old were forced to retire to a tune of about 5%. If we look at currently this COVID recession, as everybody's calling it, you've got a 7% early retirement rate, and that's huge. That's 4 million people, right? That's a lot of people that are being forced to retire early and have some things to talk about. This is a record, by the way. We've never seen this. So if that's you and you are being forced to retire early, a couple things, right? So there's a lot of proposals out there from the government on what to do. One of them is to reinstate the 10% early withdrawal from your 401ks, things like that. And you think at first, you're like, that sucks. Why would you do that? Well, it's a two-part plan. They want to reinstate the 10% penalty so you're less likely to go take from your 401k early. Number one, they want to keep the money in the market. Number two, the longer you can keep it growing, maybe you're less likely to rely on the government. We'll see what happens. But what they also want to do is they're proposing to reduce the Medicare eligibility age to 50 and make it a first payer system. In other words, what it would be is you'd be eligible for Medicare, and then if you were to have a doctor's bill or something like that, Medicare would be the first place that they bill, and your insurance premiums would move on, or your payment would be moved on to other policies that you have, if any, from there. That's what they want to do. We can't rely on what they want to do. We've got to start strategizing for you. At least one customer a week has had to retire early. That's what's going on. I mean, that's seriously how it is. So we've got to readjust the plan. So the first thing that you can do is, number one, we got to talk about what your plan is for insurance. We don't sell insurance here. We don't sell anything. We just help you plan for it. So in that case, you going for Obamacare? Do you have to get a part-time job just to pay for insurance? How bad is it? Can you afford insurance outside of it? I know it's tough, but that's the first thing we got to think of, because if you're 55, 56, 58, that's a real consideration, right? So number one, what's the plan for insurance? Number two, we got to take a true look at the actual numbers that you need to survive. A lot of times what people do is they estimate, and they'll tell me, I figure I need $75,000 a year in retirement. Dustin, can my money outlive that? What's the deal? Will it work? Well, here's an example that we did just in a couple other videos a second ago, where someone's saying, okay, my goal here in retirement is to have, I don't know, $4,200 in retirement. And it's broken down by exactly what they need and everything. This can no longer be an estimate if you're forced to retire early. We got to stop everything. What do you spend on cars? What do you spend on your entertainment? Can we cut back on travel? What's the goal there? Your current expenses, we also list those. Your current expenses are a lot lower, 2814 in this case. What is it in here that we can keep and not cause more expenses in retirement? So you got to take a true look at the actual numbers. It may mean a budget. I know they suck. It may be something you have to look at, but something that we really have to be particular on. Number three, the next thing you can look at. We're going to go through four things, by the way. Number three, you want to look at the effect of when you take Social Security. A lot of people like to delay it. They want to go for the higher amount. It's a guaranteed 7 to 8% raise essentially every year. If you can't get that on your investments, it's likely you want to delay your Social Security. But now we need to start looking at the optimal time to take your Social Security, given your new situation. You were forced to retire early. The idea is that we want to see how it affects the dollars at the end. We know, all right, you're going to take a hit, you're going to get paid a little bit less, but how does it affect the dollars at the later stage in your life if you're not going back to work in any way? How does it affect your withdrawal rate, right? When you start withdrawing from retirement accounts, as you inevitably will have to do at 59, and so on, how does it affect things in that case? That's definitely something we want to take a look at. And number four, this is a tough one, but number four, we want to see the impact of you paying off debts. Do you have debt? You're 60 years old. You weren't going to pay it off because you were making all this money. Now, does it make sense to pay it off or just keep investing? You may have to keep investing. This is no longer the time where we get to say, I don't like debt and all debt's bad, you should pay it off. That's out the window, right? You can disagree with me if you want, but now if you're forced to retire early, we want to know, how do we get the most dollars out of your entire lifespan from here? And if it means holding on to some debt, maybe it does, I don't know, I'm saying. But if it means holding on to some debt that you'll end up with more dollars in some way, I mean, opinions out the window, right? Because now we're forced to retire early. We've got to make those dollars last. So whatever the most efficient way to do that is, if paying down debt is the goal and it shows that you end up with more money, specifically how? Specifically, what dollars do we pay and where? What do we pay extra to? What do we pay minimum payments to? How do we make it so that when that debt is paid off, you paid it in the shortest amount of time and with the least amount of interest? That becomes really, really important there. Again, your opinion goes out the window whether you care about debts or not. If you're forced to retire early, we just have to make it work. We have to find a way to end with more dollars than you thought you were going to end with there. So anyways, that's it. Number one, what's the plan for insurance? That's a tough one. It's probably going to take you a minute. Number two, we need to really, really have a true look at your true costs in retirement, this new early retirement. Number three, what's the impact of taking Social Security a little bit early if you have to? We got a plan for that. Were you just going to take it later? What's the deal there, right? How much are you going to get? And number four, we got to measure those debts. If you have debts, if you don't have debts, you can continue to invest. You'll be likely better off in your 80s and so on. But we got to take a look at it. And the bottom line is, if you were forced to retire early, it's really not the end of the world. It's not horrible, even if you haven't saved enough. I did a great video on how to retire with just $500,000. Can you do it? You can do it. It actually can happen. We modeled it line by line. Not to say that you want to do that, but if you have to, there you go. So I hope that's not the case for you, but if you were forced to retire early and somebody's not helping you, I hope you'll consider Jazz Wealth. Maybe you roll over your 401k, we transfer some accounts, we start helping you with the investments, but then from there, we got to figure out how those dollars work. I'm dead inside, so I don't get emotional about it. You can get emotional about it. I will figure out how those numbers work best for you. Hey, enjoy the rest of your day. My wife tells me I'm dead inside. I feel like I have a heart. I don't know, but you know, just what it is. But you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're not dead inside and you are excited about your retirement, maybe hit the subscribe button. If you're dead inside, just, you know, unemotionally hit the button. I appreciate it.